Hopefully everything's on. It is. Oh, I'm right in the doggo's face. Happy Thursday, everybody. Praise be the Spiral. I want to do this, but I'm guessing the timer's not ready yet. It's not. All right, so I'll leave that there for a second. Let me bring up my little information window so I can see you just subbed, because I can't see. And where is my information window? Apparently it has disappeared. Oh, there it is. Hope everybody's well today. Praise be the Spiral. Praise be the Spiral, yes. Zendar, thank you very much for the resub. Thank you, Proud7 for the host, and thank you, Andy Magic Knight, for the host. I do notice actually that your image, it must have been portrait, because it's cropped off quite a bit at the bottom. So you need to take a good landscape picture. All right, let's see if I can get in. There you go. I just added that just before the stream in honor of Clive. Oh, hey, Retrocone. Can't stay, but look forward to watching that. Yeah, hopefully we'll get some C64. So no Mega 65 tonight, just C64, but hopefully we'll get some progress done on that. Don't really have much to add today, so I think we'll just get into it. Oh, I will remind you about the competition on Saturday, or the giveaway on Saturday. So going to be giving away a copy of Cassette 50 for anybody who's not. Hearing you pop that bottle just made you thirsty. Cheers. So I'll be giving away a copy of this. Oops. Got to lose my headphone. I'll also put the D64 version onto this as well, so that you can run it properly. And also, I don't know if you can see that, the Razer Kishi for Android. So I'll be giving that away as well on Saturday. So it'll be normal. It'll be a normal kind of prize draw raffle thing. If you want to win either of the prizes, enter yourself into the draw. It will be one draw for both items. One kind of pool of entrants for both items. If your name gets drawn, you can pick which. If your name gets drawn first, you can pick which one you want. If your name gets drawn second, you get whatever's there, unless you don't want it, in which case we move on to the third. So, for instance, if you've got an Apple phone, you may not want this. So if this is the prize that's left when your name is drawn, you may just want to pass and pass it on to somebody else. Something seems too quiet. I think the alerts are a bit too quiet. Thank you very much, Sausage Toes, for the resub. Appreciate it. Cheers. I'm going to take it a little bit easy tonight because I'm feeling very, very tired. Thank you for the bits as well, Steps. Yeah, a couple of days working this week in the office has actually really taken out of me. It's the music, is it? I thought there was something a bit loud. It's because Rasterline dub, when that comes on, I always want to put it on a bit louder. Is that better? There you go. Need to find a way to make just Rasterline dub a little bit louder. I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say now. I don't remember at all. And how the alerts seem too loud. There we go. Thank you for the resub, SP, and thank you for the resub, Fitrend, as well. Thank you very, very much indeed. Yeah, so we're going to do C64 tonight. That's right, I was telling you I was tired. That's it. I mean, that's it, really. I'm just tired, so not really much more to add to it than that. So I won't be doing Resident Evil tonight. We'll just be doing the C64 stuff, and I'll do my best to get through as much of it as I can. I was spending a bit too long on this Robotron section, but it's important, I guess. So why not Specky tonight? I like Sir Clive, and I'm grateful that he introduced the Spectrum to the world. but there's no way on earth I'm dedicating a stream to playing Spectrum or doing Z80. Neither of those seem like fun prospects to me. But you know, I may play a little bit of Specky at some point, but it won't be an entire stream. So how about smashing one? I've got some as well. Actually, I could smash a Spectrum up. Thank you for the bits, Prow7, and thank you for the bits, Amok. Cheer, 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 cheers. Okay. So on the last stream, we were looking at why the well, let me add points and everything. I feel so tired. Sadly, Sinclair didn't win the BBC contract. You could all enjoy Specky. In a way, I'm glad they didn't, because I think the BBC was a better machine for teaching anyway. Obviously, it would not better for games, but I'll add some good games. But to be fair, that's another reason I'm not streaming Resident Evil tonight. I seem to be having a problem with the emulator and my machine crashing, and I'm not sure why. Yeah. I'll do the quiz. One sec. There we go. Ooh, interesting. Sorry, I want to see what this is before I start. Ooh. Looks like a golf game, doesn't it? That's what my brain is going to here. Who knows? What the hell is that? Oh my god, I knew that as well. I couldn't tell what that was. Well done. Tomb Raider Golf. Maybe play a Specky port of a C64 original. I might do something on the weekend, maybe. I want to try and fix the Mega 65 DMA stuff in VHDL. I had a quick look at it before the stream, and my brain just couldn't understand what the hell was going on. So I'm going to have a proper dig around in it tomorrow, I think. See if I can figure it out. Because if I can build the streams myself, I can start doing pull requests for things, for fixes that I need. And I have a funny feeling the jagged distortion that we're seeing is based on the 1 pixel error at the beginning of every line. And the more sloped the line is, the bigger the error is, which is why it fixes as you go around. At certain angles, it's perfect, and it's why it's worse when you're facing the other direction, because the line is drawn backwards. So I'm gonna have a dig around in the VHDL, see if I can fix it. Oh, actually, Gardens Paul's just replied. The repeated first pixels bug is likely a contributor here, Sean. Yeah, I think so, because I think if that's removed, what it will do, because if you look at the image, let me just quickly show you before we start this C64 stuff. So if you look at this image, so this is the output, and if you look, you can see the lines that make up the rows of pixels that have been read from the texture. But if you look, you can see the individual pixels here. You can see how it's, there's 3 pixels across here, or there's at least a band of kind of different colors of pixels. But if you look, it's never that far off. It's only ever a little bit off. And that makes me think that because each line is scaled slightly differently, if they're too long, the lines, then you will get a slight kind of stagger in the line. And I think that's what's causing it, which is why we don't see it as bad in the distance, because the lines are scaled less. And why it's exaggerated up front, but also as you turn around, those slopes kind of straighten out and go the other way. So there's and that's to do with the slope of the line. So I was thinking quite hard about it, and I think that's what's going on. And this is the low resolution image as well. So we already saw that the high resolution image creates a much better view, and that's because the line is longer. So that 1 pixel has a smaller percentage of error than if we're at the smaller texture size. So the lines that it reads are twice the length in the bigger texture size. So it means the error is only half the percentage that it was before. So I think that's what's going on there. So I'd like to try and get that fixed before the weekend. That would be good to kind of play around with, because I was going to redo that whole render, and I realized I probably shouldn't do that until I can rule out the bugs that are in there. So and also math accuracy is one problem that's definitely a contributing factor, but I don't think it's as bad as I thought. So anyway, so we were doing let's just open a few files in here. So I've got everything ready. Just need cart and view layer. So we were doing the Robotron screens. We'd got the enemies moving around, or an enemy moving around, but it wasn't clearing properly behind it when it was moving on half character boundaries. What am I doing here? Trying to talk and do this at the same time. My brain really hasn't switched on properly yet. Well, I should say it's switched off a long time ago. So getting up, a few hours earlier than I have been doing on these 2 days, and having to walk down to the station and back, and like upstairs at work, and just generally it's kind of been it's been a bit of a shock to the system after 18 months sat in my little hovel. Hey Paul, I just saw your message on the Meg 65 channel, coding channel. I was just talking about it then, saying that I'd like to kind of play around a little bit with the VHDL, like learn how to build it, and maybe I can contribute some kind of little fixes here and there for things, some pull requests for fixes if it's possible. I think I could probably do it. I just need to spend an hour or two just reading through the VHDL to get an idea of the syntax and how it works and stuff. I'm sure I can do a crash course in an hour or two, enough to change some small values or small pieces of logic. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do anything super serious, but I may be able to do the DMA line fix and a few other things here and there. Yeah, exactly. I relish the kind of thought of kind of learning new things, so it's a good one to kind of to get under my belt, and if it can help to kind of to kind of fix some of the little bugs here and there if we spot them, rather than having to put it into a massive backlog just for you, that would be a little bit oh, cold roast lamb. Oh, could eat that right now. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, so we're looking at the Robotron screen. We've got a Robotron class, and everything's working all right except for the clear routine. So we're going to have a look and see if we can figure out why it's not clearing properly. So let's just remind ourselves exactly what the problem was. So I changed the clear routine to, instead of drawing a clear character, which you can't see properly, it's drawing it's drawing one of these background pieces basically. So you'll see as it moves, it moves fine there. It's clearing properly behind it. You can see its path is leaving an exact square behind. But when it goes to these half values here, you can see it actually draws the square in the wrong place. It draws it up here instead of down here, so it's off by one. Likewise, here you can see it's drawing these squares. It's only drawing one clear, so each one of these is one character, but what it should be doing here is drawing two characters. It should be drawing here and drawing here as well, and here it should be drawing here, here, and here, and here. So it should be drawing 4 character spaces here, but it's not. It's only ever drawing the one, it seems. So I can't get out of the bloody way now, but so you see it there. Anytime it kind of moves half amount, it kind of screws up. So oh, that's interesting. It's kind of, oh, that's because it's drawn this. It's on a half square. Okay. So that's what we want to try and do now. We want to try and just look to see, is it actually picking the right one? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by seeing if it ever tries to draw more than one. So we've got these sizes here, size 1x2, size 2x1. It could just be that it's never, and size 2x2. Could just be that it's never actually getting into these, which means this would be wrong here. So let's just put breakpoints into here and see if these trigger. Because if these trigger, then that means we're in. It means this kind of decision code here is correct, and that this or is at least functioning. May not be correct still, but it would mean that this for some reason is wrong. So same back time, same back channel. Oh, I shall tune in. I'll try do my best to tune in for that. 23.5 hours. So yeah, I'll tune in for that. I'm really bothered by how tired I've felt this week. To the point actually where I'm as much as I said I'm going to give these away on Saturday, there's a small chance I may not even make it to that. Okay, so we're hitting that thing. So there's a small chance that I may abandon my Saturday plans. I'll try not to, but it's a possibility. So just be prepared for that. Okay. So did it try and do one there and then failed? Because it doesn't seem to have cleared there at all. So it should be doing char 1x2. Okay, so if we disassemble this, char 1x2 is this. Wait, hang on. No, yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. That's drawing the character, though. You know, we want the clearing of the character, don't we? It's not this one. It's that dirty London air. It is really bad. I noticed on Tuesday when I came back, I was sneezing like crazy. It was the first time I've been on the tube in God knows how long. Well, 18 months minimum. And I was sneezing like crazy that night. And it's it probably is quite a lot to do with it actually. It overwrites an already drawn char. If you alternate the erasing char, we see that probably. Wait, we do. Yeah. Well, let's do the break in the clear first, because I was doing the break in the draw, which is the wrong place to do it. So we'll do the break in the clear, and see if it works. Yeah, I do want to I want to try and understand a little bit more about the disk stuff. It's kind of black magic to me. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's the logic is wrong because it's never drawing. It's never doing any of these. Oh wait, hang on. That's the draw. This is the clear. So let me try storing that value in the border. So this is our data type. This is the value that we should be getting from this thing here. Oh, and actually we're not. We're drawing it, but wait. We're not storing it. That's why. Bit 0 and 1 of the draw type in the draw function. Bit 270. So bit 0 and 1. So we should be, when we calculate draw type sets to 0. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, we just, it's my own fault. It's just missing code. That's all it is. See, we're never storing it. We're storing it here, but we're never using it again after that. So what we should be doing really is grabbing that value. Well, actually, what we should be doing is we should be grabbing data.type from X. Yeah, and then ending that with 560, and then or in that with draw type. So okay. Yeah, take care, Paul. I ended up riding 95 kilometers to and from work. I don't know what I mean. It was in complete opposite direction from home. Wow. I couldn't drive to a work meeting ever. Yeah, it does. It was skipping all of the half charts because the draw type was always 0. So whatever it was doing, it was always trying to just clear one character instead of more than one. So hopefully now this is right. That's it. I'm fairly convinced this should be fine now. Yeah, see, we're hitting that code properly now. All right. So let's take the brakes out and let's change the character back to the correct character. So the character that we're drawing is this one here. So I'm going to change that back to 0 here. I'm going to get rid of the brakes. See, sometimes it just this was driving me mad last week. Sometimes it just needs a little break, and then it all clicks into place, which is good. I mean, it doesn't always work like that. It's kind of it's kind of nice that it has worked like that, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it just doesn't work at all, and you spend weeks figuring it out, and then you give up, and then suddenly it's all good again. Okay, that's good. So you can see that the colors are changing now to define which amounts. Oh, it is kind of drawing some half eyes, but I think that's to do with the particles going through them. Yeah, because the particles are clearing. Particles are clearing before, no, after. What's happening? After the thing is drawn. Okay, so let's see if we can change the order that these things happen in. Okay, so that's happening because the next thing we need to do is we need to change the speed so that we can get the speeds right. Because at the moment it's still moving a whole character at a time. Is there always a black background? No, it's always black. Yeah, always black. Yeah, it's kind of nice because it does give us a little bit of freedom to try stuff that we wouldn't normally be able to do in C64 games. So yeah, things like the particle system, for instance, is it's something that we couldn't really do in a standard C64 game because there'd be other stuff in the background. So having that completely black background is really helpful. There is another way we could have done it if we'd have used. Actually, no, it wouldn't have mattered even then as well. I was going to say you could use ECM mode to do it, but it really doesn't make. Actually, no, yeah, you could do. You could use ECM mode. So, for instance, in the fighting game that I was working on, that I kind of shelved, well, not shelved, shelved as in put it on the shelf, and I've not completely ditched the idea, but it just wasn't fun enough to play. The backgrounds in that used ECM, well, the whole thing used ECM mode, but what it meant is you could change the color of backgrounds in character size blocks. But what that meant is you got what looked like a varied background, but you could draw stuff over the top quite easily. Because all you were really doing was changing the background color between one of 4 different colored backgrounds. So it'd be nice to allow change the white color to something else. You can play with black and brown. Okay, so what I think is happening is on the Robotron screens. So there is going to be I forgot what screen number it was now. 20, I think. I do this every time as well, every week. Yeah, okay. So there is a Robotron update here. So the screen updates are going to dictate when that's going to happen. So we might need to move the clears into different positions, because at the moment what we've got is we've got clears that are happening in here. Oh, map table update. So it's here actually, and then the particles clear. So actually, if I did this before, like that, it should be pretty quick because the clear particles uses. Let me show you the clear particles actually, because it's a nice use of this this addressing mode, which is very underused usually. So. So what we do is this is all we do to clear the particles. We run through the particle zero page count. The zero page count is basically how many characters the particles can use. Now this zero page count is actually this should be probably should be a constant. That actually. Well, I guess it could be. Guess it could be less. But say you've got 8 particles, then the zero page particle count will be 16. Actually, it'd be 2 less. It'd be 14. And what it does is it basically uses that as an offset into zero page. Oh, it uses -2, so 16 is fine. It uses that as an offset into zero page, and zero page just contains the addresses of the particles that have been drawn to the screen. So the screen addresses are already stored in a list, and we just use this indirect X indexed zero page addressing mode to clear those values very, very quickly. And then we have an unrolled loop which actually clears the particles here. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this around into 2 routines. Clear screen particles and clear particles data. Because the clear particles data is going to be slower, because this is going to clear 8 times 8, 64 locations with a value. This is why it's unrolled. So I'm going to leave that where it was in the timing loop in here. But I'm going to run the clear particles before the map update. So this one will be in here. So this will still clear the data from the font. So we've got a font, we've got 8 characters in it which get particles drawn into them, and they get plotted onto the screen. And then as they're plotted onto the screen, the screen addresses are stored in zero page, and then the clear screen particles can just do a very quick loop through, basically clearing, just drawing a space at those 8 characters spaces on screen. So it's very quick to do that, because you don't have to recalculate the positions on screen. There's no weird kind of self mod. It's using a nice simple lookup system, specifically using that X index addressing. This, on the other hand, has to then go into the font and actually clear each one of those characters. So each one of those characters is 8 bytes. So that's 8 stores per character, 8 characters, so 64 stores. So this is a bit slower. So we'll leave this in this area here. So we're splitting things up, but it shouldn't affect the timing too much. But hopefully now what this should do is it should prevent that that space character for yeah, as Akmafin says, yeah. So VIC3 mode C65 uses 4 bits per channel. And the VIC4 mode uses 8 bits per channel, except red, which is 7, which is why also the nibbles are swapped. So the Mega 65 has to be compatible with the C65 mode. So because technically C65 software should run in Mega 65 mode. In fact, Mega 65 isn't even really a mode, it's just C65 mode. It just has some ways of switching the VIC out for new stuff. So the red bits is used for Genlock, which is a kind of TV broadcasting thing, which I believe the C65 also supported. So the 5th bit in the red, the 4th bit, if you start from 0, in the red channel is used for Genlock, which means that when the palettes were updated to allow up to 8 bits, red could only have 7. So that 4th bit of bit 4, so from bit 0 to bit 3 is the C65 color. And then from bit 4 to bit 7 is the Mega 65 kind of lower nibble, if you like. But red on red bit 4 has no effect. So it's a little bit weird. I think I have gone over the palette a little bit on some of my streams. I still need to upload loads as well. I will probably try and get some uploading done soon. Hey, Doxter. Oh, thank you for the bits as well, SP. I missed that. Now, if I can get my PC stable, that was 24 minutes ago. Thank you very much. All right, let's try this out. Hopefully, the particles, the exhaust particles, won't make the guy flash anymore, which is not. You can see now it's just disappearing into it, which is perfect. Exactly what we need. Awesome. So the next step is to make this guy move. The same speed all the time. I think at the moment he's moving. Actually, is he moving? I'm not sure what speed he's moving. Hang on. Is that moving half a pixel at a time? I can't tell. See, it doesn't seem too bad. It seems all right. I think I'd already done it. So what I need to do is multiply by 4, not by 2, on these values here. Yeah, so dx dy. Technically, there can be 1 or 0.5, and these are the values that we kind of calculate. Oh, pardon me. But what they should be doing is very gassy, that stuff. Wow. But what they should be doing is half of that. And the reason they should be doing half of that is because they need to... actually, they're not doing that, are they? They're not accounting for that fractional value properly, I don't think. Let's have a look. Let's see. Because it needs to make sure that the smallest unit that you can move is half a character width, right? So that means if you're moving at a steep angle like that, while you should be moving half a character in that direction, this side should be moving half of that, a quarter. So we need a quarter and a half, not half and 1. The Robotron characters materialize in? Yeah, they will do. We've just not done that yet, but they will have a... I need to have a little think about how to do that, because they, on the full game, they kind of spawn in with this massive circle that gets drawn on, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But what I was thinking is I could probably use a double width, double height sprite. So it would be fairly big, but it wouldn't be massive. It would be like 48 by 42 pixels circle. Oops. And then have that animate in a little bit. And then we can just spawn 8 at a time, which is fine. 8 at a, well, actually could do more, but if we just make 8 at a time, it will save kind of strain on the multiplexer. But I think that'll probably be all right. I'm not sure. We need to come up with something. It definitely can't be exactly the same, because the routine that the main game uses is a little bit too much. So, what's this door chart counter here? Oh, okay, that was the old door counter thing, which I don't need. Okay. So here's where we add. Yeah, so you can see we double. Wait, store X. Yeah, so we double it, but we don't quadruple it. So let me think about this, right? We need to quadruple that value. Is that going to work? Right, so if our char X goes from 0 to 39, then double of that would be 78, and double of that would be 156, which is over halfway. But this is char X and char Y, so it doesn't matter. So that's fine, because if we needed negative numbers, we'd need to make sure that wasn't higher than 128. Wow. Okay. Final blow 64. Okay, so we've doubled the position of that. So if we double the position, that means we need to double. Oh, so we need to half again the value when we're drawing back to screen. So this is the draw routine. And you can see here we take this value in char and we shift it to the right. So we need to do that twice, like so. And we need to do the same with the x as well. So I'm going to put a little note in here to say, actually, if I just do it up in here, it should be fine. In here. We store them as 4 times this value to allow us to use bit 0 and 1 to represent 0.0 to 0.75 in 0.25 increments. So actually that would be 31.75 because that would have another 1 on there. So it would be, actually it wouldn't be 31, would it? That would be 31. Well, actually, yeah, it would. No, of course it wouldn't. That would be 31. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that means we shouldn't need to change this. This will just mean that the character will move a bit slower, but now it should move. It will be slower, but it will move in smaller increments, or it will seemingly move in smaller increments, but more accurate. There'll be previously the angles would have been. Actually, no, the angles would have been the same, but it would have moved quite fast in some direction. So hopefully this will just smooth that out a little bit. Because the whole point of doing it like this was to make sure that we never jump a whole character in one go, whereas we were jumping a whole character in one go. So, for instance, when we were moving at the very beginning, you'll see it move, and it moves exactly one character at a time. So now it hopefully should only move half a character at a time, just from those 2 changes. And because of the way we do the maths, it shouldn't affect. It should not affect the maths here at all. I hope I'm right anyway, but I get the feeling it will be fine. Okay, no, it has affected the maths. It's doing something very odd now. Oh, it's because our location is being compared based on these half values. So actually we're in the wrong place here, or it thinks we're in the wrong place. But you see, it's still moving half a character. It's still moving a full character across. So something's not quite right. Let's do the difference lookup. So the update here. So this is where we're going to grab our location on screen. Where is our location on screen? Calculate entity delta. That's the one we want. Well, this is temporary as well. Why is this temporary? Sure, what this? Oh, this is drawing our values, isn't it? Let me put a note on there. Okay, calculate entity data was down here, wasn't it? Yes, entity delta, that's the one. So this is the same. This needs to remain the same because this is what's actually moving, and because our dx and our dy, yeah, our dx and our dy are just going to be calculated from the algorithm we have, and char is going to be 4 times. That's what's actually doing the magic. The fact that this maths doesn't change. So what we need to do is we need to take the values here. Yeah, so here we're taking char x, and we're doing some shifts. So we're going to shift it a few more times, like so, and that should account for those extra bits. Yeah, so I'll explain how the timer works. When the timer reaches 0, you'll see the word ready in the corner up here. When it says ready, you can have a guess. If you guess, the timer starts ticking down again. If you guess incorrectly, nothing changes on the image, and people have got about 15 seconds, I think it is, for to make further guesses. So if the background didn't change when the timer started again, then you've got about 15 seconds to try and find something that will make it change. What is that? Chilean sea bass. Quite like a bit of sea bass as well. But why was Chilean sea bass banned then? Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. So once the timer reaches 2:45, no matter what you do, it won't matter. It will get ignored. Between 2:45 and 2:59, the first person to come up with a working background, a valid background, will have their background enabled. I mean, okay, it's doing some very strange stuff, but it's definitely moving slower. Actually, I kind of like that movement, but it is kind of zigzaggy, isn't it? It's not perfect, but I do kind of like that movement. Let's get rid of that background color change because I don't like that now. It's unnecessary. So the next thing to think about is why is that? Where is that background color change? I thought it was around here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So why is that happening? Well, let's move dead ahead and see what happens. So interestingly, it's moving a whole character here. It's not moving half character, it's moving a whole character. So what about if we go backwards? Same if we go backwards. All right, so there's something not right quite. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll figure it out. Same with down as well. I don't think that fractional value is working quite right. So let's have a work out why that might be happening. Actually, I've got a Coke here, so I'm going to drink some Coke at the same time. Oh yeah, if you use your channel points, you can redeem another one. If you use your sorry, not channel points, your shimmy shillings. Is it shimmy shillings or is it no? It's channel points, isn't it? Not shimmy shillings. If you do that, then yes, you can. Thank you, Anonymous Cheer, for the bit. I appreciate it. Cheers. Yeah, if you use channel points, you can override the timer and just make one appear. Okay, so let's have a think about this. Right, so where's our update calculate entity data? Okay, so this is going to return a value, which is going to be 0, 1, or 2, wasn't it? Those were the values that we got from here. Is that right? 0, 1, 2. Maybe we need the 3 as well here. No. Hang on. So it's either not moving, it's half moving, or it's fully moving. So yeah, so the values we got at the end were 0, 1, and 2 from our this is our dx and our dy, and this was originally translating to 0, 0.5, 1.0. So binary representation of these, we just look at if we just put a 2-digit binary representation in here, space these out a little bit. So there we go. Okay, which matches what we were when we go to add, this is what happens naturally, and that's fine. The problem is if we only want to add halves or quarters in here, so the new system would change these values from 0 to 0.25 to 0.5. So when this number was that was the splitting point of the number, this is fine, right? Because this is half. And by splitting point, what I mean is this is the value that gets used for screen kind of updates. This is the value that gets added to it. So so we add 0. Yeah, so this is fine. Okay, and but then this one would actually increase that value because we'd increase by 1. But now what we're doing is we're moving that across a little bit more. So now we're moving it to here, like so. So now when we add it, all we've done is we've created half. So if we were to add that again, what would we get? We'd get this go up by 1, and that would go back to 0. So that's correct. So this is correct. 2 of these added together would create a half, and 2. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, so that's fine. Let's add the x and our dy. And when we add that, yeah, okay, what's going on then? What's going on? Hey Zashrash, how's it going? How's big ears? I've also got eyes coming out of the back of my head as well. Okay. Yes, you see here we've got the representation of a half here, and this is the fast routine that Mad Beagle gave us, and this really doesn't change anything. I mean, it changes the accuracy slightly, but it's really not that bad. It's just this middle case that's off, and that's just because the rounding is a bit different on the values. That's all. Because we're using bit shifting instead of doing like comparisons and stuff and subtractions. It shouldn't affect this system at all. Okay, so where do we add those values? So it's not in there. This is all the stuff that does the adding. So update entity position. So this adds the values on. We clear the carry flag, so that's good. We add the dx, we add the dy. Okay. So really, we shouldn't be seeing any issues here. So why is it zigzagging? Could it be that certain positions just cause these values to flip-flop, maybe? Let's take a look, because we've got the dx, the dy at the top up here, represented as 0, 1, and 2, rather than the halves. So we should be able to see when we come in here. So you can see we've got 2 because it's moving towards us. If I go up here, yeah, see how it's kind of alternating. You see how it's going -2, -1, and that's where the zigzag is coming in, because it's not sure what to do. It goes backwards though. That's the bit that's throwing me off. It's like it backtracks on itself. Let's slow this down a little bit. Let's slow this down. Let's do it on 20% speed. Okay. You see it's still moving a whole character. It's not doing the half character, and then it does do a half character. It changes and it does a half character. Wouldn't you be dead before the backtrack? Well, no. I mean, if you watch on full speed, right? Say I'm all the way over here. Watch the enemy. Look how it moves. See how it's kind of doing sort of weird. It's really, really jittery movement, but it's still also only moving in half segments. It's not doing the fractional. I think there's something. I think there's something wrong with the rendering portion of this. I think that's what it is. So let's go and have a look. So calculate entity delta. Okay, so this is where the delta is calculated, which we know is correct. We know this is right. We can see those values updating on the screen. There's a little bit of a flip flop, but it shouldn't be as bad as what it's doing right now. The update entity is just drawing those positions, so is just adding those dx's to the dys. So it really should be down to the char x and char y. Hang on. I think I see the problem. So this is the draw routine. This is what decides which routine we're using, and we'd halved all the other things, but we hadn't done this one. So what we're trying to do here is roll the bits off one side and put them back onto the draw type. Now this isn't going to be correct, because what this is going to do, let's imagine, let's take a look at this value here, right? So let's imagine this value is it doesn't really matter what this bit is, right? But this lower bit is a fractional value. So this is a half, right? So we've got 0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. So if we shift that to the right, what do we get? Okay, so we get the carry flag. What we're doing, the reason we're shifting it to the right is to basically just get this value. So that's why there's two of these. But this also puts stuff in the carry flag. So this is going to put a 1 in the carry flag. Let's do 1 0. So it's 0.5. So this is going to put a 0 in the carry flag. So carry flag equals 0, right, at this point, which means now the draw type will be 0, because we roll that carry flag back out again. Then we do the same again. We roll this, and this time we're going to get this character here, this bit here. So that means the carry flag is now equal to 1, which means that when we roll this into here, we're going to get 0 and 1. So you see it's backwards. So what we actually need to do here is we need to reverse these bits. Okay, reverse 2 bits. How to reverse 2 bits like that? Okay, so if we did oh no, because exclusive or would change 0 into 1s, and that's wrong. Yes, that's all we need to do. We need to reverse the bits, or we need to switch the draw types around. So if we were to switch these 2 draw types, it would fix it. Okay, so let's think. Yeah, it does. It does have exclusive OR, but if you think about exclusive OR, it would fix the case where 0, 1 would then become 1, 0. So if you did exclusive OR with 1, 1, then 0, 1 would indeed become 1, 0, because exclusive OR here would be 1. This would be 0, which means 1, 0 would become 0, 1, but 0, 0 would become 1, 1, and vice versa. So so exclusive OR won't work here. We kind of need what would it be actually? It would be is it 0? No, it would be the same there as well. I think the easiest way is to flip these draw types around. So even though the half value is... Oh, hang on. Hang on. Get char x, we work out. Okay, so char x is... Oh, hang on. We're thinking about this incorrectly. Okay, so actually what draw type is representing is draw type does not represent naught. So let's just put here. Let's put a little note here, actually. Draw type does not represent but represents whether or not we were on a half character or not. So in the case of 0.25, but represents whether whether the x position, the x shift is on a char or half char in a single bit with the y shift in the next bit. Therefore, 10 equals x in half location, y not. If that makes sense. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to make sure that if the value is if value is 0.0 to 0.25, we treat this as no half char. 0.5 to 0.75 treat as half char. So we're just splitting those values. So there's four possible values here, and we're just going to split them into two halves. So 0 and 0.25 we're going to treat as there's no half char. So you only reach half char when you actually reach 0.5, which means only when this bit here is actually set. So we don't need to roll twice. We only need to roll once, like so. So only if that second bit is set. So in other words, so this would be 0, 0 to 0, 1, and this would be 1, 0 to 1, 1. So if we shift this to the right twice, we're always going to get this, the highest nibble in the carry flag, and that's the one we care about, the 0 or 1. And you see how this set is 0, and this is set as 1, and that's what we need down here. So we use those values in draw type. They're basically combined together. So we get, we basically get. Hang on, let's draw what draw type is. Draw type equals 6, and then XY like that. So we get 6 unused bits, which are used for the type here. Actually, let's do this down here. And you can see we've got two values, which are X and Y at the end. So these two bits define whether X is on a half or whether Y is on a half, and that defines all four of our things. So this is why I'm putting extra commenting in, because I've realized over the past 2 years doing this that if I don't comment things and then I get drunk and try and go back to it, like 3 weeks later when I've not streamed for a while, it's really hard to remember. So, and this is helping a lot. I just hope this makes sense. It was going to make more sense in the code, I think. But I think that will fix it. I think that will solve our issues, because what we were seeing before was certain values were being treated as actually would they be treated? Yeah, in fact, it would have only rolled once, so we would have got some really weird values in there. So yeah. Thanks for the resub, my Beagle. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much. I'm going to drink Coke this time. I'm going to stagger it between the two. But cheers, my man. Hopefully you can get set up with the Mega 65 stuff soon, and we can see what magic you can work on that. That's working much better. See how now it's moving the right speed now, and it's moving at a like half character rate, and it's moving without backtracking on it. So it's still got a bit of a zigzag, which is to be expected on the diagonals, because especially when it's if we're not on a perfect perfect, well, what would it be? It would be like that, wouldn't it? No, there'll be a certain point at which the diagonal will be kind of spot on, and it will move kind of smoothly towards you. But at all other places, it will kind of work its way towards it. So I think writing assembly without comments is also difficult when you're not drunk. It's not too bad if you work on it a lot. Like if you do if you do the same code kind of every day, then it's not too bad. It's what makes it really difficult is when I'm working on 2 or 3 projects and they're staggered, and I'm only doing like 2 hours one night a week on one of the projects, and sometimes I miss a day here and there. So then it becomes 3 weeks until I've touched a code that I've only spent 2 hours on 6 months ago or whatever. So yeah. But yeah, that's moving nice and smoothly now. Thanks, Russell Mills. It's very basic at the moment. Just wanted to get this thing moving, but now it's moving smoothly. We can try adding more in and see what that looks like. Because what I need to do next is I need to make sure that, firstly, that they, well, we need to be able to shoot them, but I guess we'll do that last. That's not too. It's kind of quite an easy thing to do. So I just see what this message is. One sec. So I think the next thing we'll do is we'll work on making them move in groups. So that gives us. So if we create, well, we'll create say 6 of them or five or 6 of them, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And what we need to do is make sure that when one tries to move, it needs to check in front of it to see if there's one already there. Now, the thing with this is it needs to check if one is in the space in front of it, but as a full character. Because if it's a half character, if it's in one of these 2x1 and 1x2 modes, it's fine for it to move into that square. It just needs to use a sprite to represent it. So that's where that gets a bit difficult. But we can use the routine this routine in a minute to work out which ones should be sprites and which ones shouldn't, and that'll be probably a value we store in here. Whenever we do the update, we will check, or whenever we go to draw things, as we're drawing things to the screen. Actually, it probably won't need storing in there as well. Oh no, it probably will, because we'll need to remove it as a sprite or remove it as a character, depending on. So the clear routine will change. Okay, so right, what we'll do is we'll add a few extra ones in. So let's go in here. We've just got very basic setup at the moment. We don't have any spawning systems or anything in place, so we're just going to use this method here. So I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to copy this. Let's do 5. Let's set these positions to various positions across the screen. Let's do a fairly wide range of them, I guess. So 2, 2, 2, 2, let's do 1. Let's do 0, 0F. That should be fine. And then Y position. So Y position go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 22. So okay, so let's change this. Actually, it's not, is it? Because it's 2 border of 2, so it's from 0, 1, 2. It's from 3 to 22. So let's try 3 and see if it appears on the border, and let's put some at the other end as well. So not that it really matters if we find the border or not here. So, and then let's pick some in the middle. So let's do what have we got? Let's see. Let's do 7. Let's do 12 like that. Okay. So if we run this now, hopefully we will see multiple. But what will happen is they will all converge on the same spot, and that's what we want to try and avoid. So what we're going to do is we're going to, in the draw routine, we're going to do some cancellation. Basically, we're gonna wipe out any dx dy movements. Oh, actually, no, we can't. Can we? We can't. Oh, this is tricky, actually. Well, it's only tricky if we need to just store the old position. I think that's what it is. So whenever we do a move, we need to also, just before we update the value, we need to store the old value. Then if a move tries to move into a position it can't, it can just cancel it and restore the old value. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, bit of Steve Rowlands. Hey Thalamus. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Good to see you again. Hope everything's well over in Canada. Progress is slow but steady with this. So it's pretty cool. Just trying to work on the Robotron screens and come up with a sneaky way of doing them that means we can mix sprites and characters together. And with some small trade-offs like the smoothness of motion. Instead of moving 1 pixel at a time, we're moving 4 pixels at a time. But I mean, it's a relatively small trade-off for what will hopefully be much larger numbers of objects on those screens. Okay, so obviously we get some. Oh, there are some weird issues actually. You notice that one that's still moving over that way. What is going on with that one? So those ones are fine. Those ones are moving towards me, but that one, I don't know why it's doing that. Is it going to follow me down here? Okay, it's fine now. What was that about? I think its position was wrong. I think it was getting some weird, because it has also cut through the scenery when the warning sign comes up. So when the warning sign comes up, just use the extra 128 hardware sprites. Yeah, that's the Mega 65 version. Mega 65 version of this would be amazing. And certainly when I'm done with this, if Thalamus is up for it, I could definitely do a conversion of this for the Mega 65 using my existing code, probably, because it could still run from cartridge as well. There's nothing stopping a cartridge running on this. And maybe if there's space, it could even be a smart cartridge. So it could be, depending on how quick we can do this version. Actually, no, it's probably too much in terms of the difference in sprites and stuff. Anyway, I'll think about it later. But yeah, a Mega 65 version would be pretty easy because we can just drop straight into this, not this one, sorry, into this and do things like maximum multiplex sprites. You know, really up the multiplex. And not that we'd need the multiplex, we could use the raster rewrite buffer, but things like particles, you know, really increase the number of particles. As soon as we've got like 8,192 characters, so can do kind of a lot of stuff. So and it wouldn't be too difficult to change this to work with Mega 65. Actually, you could make it work from SD card as well, so you wouldn't even need cartridge. But anyway, that's I digress. That's one for later, but certainly doable. And we could use the majority of the code base as well, with only minor changes here and there. Okay, so there seems to be one that's kind of wandering off screen somewhere. I'm not sure what that's doing. It could be something to do with one of these locations. Let's see where it is first, and let's stop this from spawning until the warning sign has gone. So let's get rid of that. Init warning. So init warning is here. that turns on, should turn on a flash counter somewhere. Warning, I think it is that one there. And then we have flash warning. Start door closure. Yep. Flash warning colors. Clear warning. Clear warning. So this is where we're done. At this point, we're finished. So here we can do start Robotron. So those won't appear until the warning sign is gone. So hopefully that will fix things. I pressed the wrong button there. Also use mode 7. Yeah, I think it could be really good, because the thing as well is we could quite easily replace the multiplexer with a raster rewrite buffer sprite system, which means you could get rid of these character sprites completely here. Yeah, see, that's fine. It's because they went out of bounds, that's all. So that's cool. So you see, they're moving, as I say, they're moving like less smoothly than they would do on the real game, but they're not moving in they're moving half a character at a time. So all we need to do now is we need to check for this overlap. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that if a character wants to move into a space where there's already a character, it's just not going to draw it. And instead it's going to mark it for display as a sprite. If a character tries to move into a square there's already a full character on its own, we don't draw it at all. We don't move it at all. We leave it where it is. So we revert back to the old position, and we draw it based on the old position. That way, what we'll get is we should get something that everything will move together, and then the stuff that's on half boundaries will get marked to be used as sprites, and those ones will draw over the top of the characters, and so we won't get any overlap issues. Good players won't see that movement so much. Yeah, exactly. It's the whole point is you're supposed to kill these. To be honest, if you've seen the movement that much, you're dead already, because these are moving slowly at the moment. They're going to be faster than this, I imagine. I need to work out the exact speed of them, but they will be moving a bit faster. I believe they update. There's an update function, isn't it, that does... where is it? Draw, not that one. It's the clear update entity position. It's this one, isn't it? Yeah, update. Robotron updates per frame. So at the moment, that is on 2. So if I speed that up, you will see things will move a bit quicker. But they should still, in theory, it should still look fairly smooth still. So yeah, see, they look nice now. So I think 2 is probably too slow. 4 might be a bit too high, actually. They're moving quite quickly. Hey, Cosmin. The screen is smaller. Yeah, I think maybe 3 per frame is probably right. I'll do some testing around this. I think it needs to be worked on a little bit. Right, but let's. I just want to test this quickly, see what it's like, and then we'll add that extra kind of check in. Yeah, that feels about right. I think you can still get away from them quite quickly, but they are like unforgiving in their relentless attack. So, and by using sprites as the fallback rather than using characters as the fallback, what we do is we make sure we draw as many things as we can with characters. And then by only using sprites as the fallback, that means that the strain on the multiplexer is the lowest it can possibly be. So by keeping that as low as the strain on the multiplexer as low as possible, it would take a large amount of these on the screen, and for you to be in a really kind of dangerous situation, like literally having them all grouped up in a line like that following you, in order for you to see flickering on the the bullets. Actually, the bullet clears probably need to... Oh, mind you, bullet clears don't matter, because if the bullets are hitting them, then they should be taking damage. Okay, that's a step in another time. So You also have those horizontal vertical lasers. Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm doing it in this way as well, because by doing it in this way, and using the sprites as the fallback, that means we can actually use the sprites for things like the horizontal lasers, vertical lasers, as well. So we could use a combination of characters as well for that. But this system means that it should be a bit easier to do that. All right, let's go ahead and start doing the storing of these values. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start by creating old char x and old char y. So these values are basically just going to be whatever the previous value was. So we need to make sure that when we add a character in and we store this value here, we also store it in old as well. So now we've got the previous location and the current location. Nice and simple. So the only way we update those is when we go to draw. So what we're going to do is we're grabbing the screen address here and we're working out where we are, and you can see round about where is it? So screen high, screen low. Yeah, so here is where we actually do the checks and do some drawing. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create another function here, which is going to be check location. And what we'll do is we'll do it like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have several of these checks in this thing, and what we'll do is we'll return the carry flag set here. If the carry flag is set, then we're going to jump to done size. We're going to say that we don't need to draw anything on the screen, and it won't draw anything. And then what we'll do is we'll use these check locations to actually do some additional work on the object. So what it will do is it will check the screen location. So it will check these locations, same as if it's drawing, but instead it's going to load those values in. If any of them are non-zero, well, actually, they need to be non-zero and less than the particles. So if that's the case, then what we need to do is don't draw anything, revert back to the old position. Actually, no, we just revert back to the old position and return to here. So in that case, we wouldn't set the carry flag. The only time we set the carry flag is if we don't want to draw a character. So let's put a little note here. Actually, we'll do it in the routine down here when I get to it. All right. So let's copy these. I think what I'm going to do once I get this working, I think the next piece of work I'm going to do is on the dynamic code loading system, so that we can load stuff like this that's only relevant for one screen on the fly from the cartridge, rather than have it all in memory and basically waste them, because we've got like laser code, Robotron code. There's all sorts of little bits of code that we can basically take it out. So you need no carry check. No, we do need a carry check. So I'll write in here what it is. So these small routines check the space that's about to be drawn to for existing elements. If there is something there, hang on, let me think about this. I had it in my head how it's going to work and I forgot already. Hang on. Yeah, we do need to draw. If there is something there, and it's not a full Robotron char, i.e. the 1x1, then it's not a full Robotron char. Then we return with carry set, and this entity is drawn in sprites. So if it's like a half character, instead of drawing it, it didn't understand what I meant. Wait, can you actually jump to the label and not use jump to subroutine? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, no, because I still need to return to draw. I still need to do these sometimes. So I see what you mean, but if it is a full 1x1 Robotron char, we should not do any move, and therefore should restore the old char X, Y. Actually, no, we could probably still use the jump anyway, because we'd have to restore the old char X, char Y, and jump back to here again. We'll have to see what happens when we do this. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But there may be a way around not using it, yeah. Should restore the old char X, Y, and redraw. And return with carry clear, so it draws. I don't know why I'm doing these comments like this when I could use block comments. I don't know why, but whatever. So yeah, I get what you meant, Nikimo. I think you might be right, because I think what we can do is, in this case, we return with a carry set. So we jump to done size, but we could just jump directly to that if we just change that to a non-local label like that, or just add a non-local label above it. But if it is full, we need to redraw it, which means we would have to come in here. However, it might be easier just to jump back to this location and recalculate the draw char X and Y, because the old... Oh no, the old position will also have the half values as well anyway, so... Oh no, actually, the half... That means this would be wrong. So yeah, we'd have to jump back to here to get these values, because it could just end up drawing the wrong thing in these locations. Okay. In which case, may as well just jump straight to here, really. So I'm going to put restart check here, and no check here, and then I'm going to change those to jump, and I'm going to put this inside this just to keep it all nice and neat together. So this is going to be replaced. So yeah, this is doing, yeah. I'm just trying to think of how to do it. The only concern here is that you may get into a situation where it does this check and jumps to here, does a recalculation, does the check, and jumps back to here again. Hopefully that's not the case. I think because nothing can move on top of something else, it should be all right. But there's always a danger you get into a kind of weird infinite loop here, so just have to be conscious of that and make sure there's that's not what's going to happen. But yeah, you're perfectly right. I'm going to give you 10 points for that, because I think that's a really good idea. Where's my overlay? Oh, there it is. You're slowly catching up. Did I add that? Yeah, I did add that. Okay. Hey, bits and bytes. The void, or void, yeah. At least now you do not fill the calling star in case of an endless loop. Well, it wouldn't have filled it before, because it would have Yeah, it would have only ever done one pass through and would have come back to here. But actually, this is better because we have to recheck in the case where we need to draw. We need to do that, so we don't need to return with a carry flag, and then we saw that's why before jumping to what's the whole thing called? Draw.restart check. I'm hoping because of the ordered nature that like things don't move randomly, right? They always move in the same order. So if you move the first piece and then you go to move the second piece and it tries to move into where the first piece was, then all you're doing is you're just putting that back where it was, which means anything that follows, it's not gonna affect that. So hopefully it should all work out and there shouldn't be any infinite loop. It would only ever do that restart once, I believe. But who knows, when we start throwing sprites into the mix as well, it might get a bit weird. So jump to draw.no check, which is this one here. So we have to use local, non-local labels because we're calling it from this scope. We could technically change it to be inside here, but because it's a separate routine, I want to keep it scoped separately as well. So if things like skip and stuff like that, I can reuse, and these size 1 and 2 and stuff. I think I need to ban Nicomo when it's not looking. I think you're all right. I think you're quite far ahead. I think you're still 3 times the points of anybody else. Not long to go. So just a reminder as well. I know it doesn't matter if you know who's going to get them, but the winners of both the quiz points and the AMK points will both receive one of these Pi 4 retro cubes at Christmas. So I will order them over Christmas with the other stuff as well. I've already got the PlayStation 5 up on the shelf there, so that's ready to go. So just a reminder as well, we will be doing a subscriber only giveaway for the PlayStation 5 on the Christmas stream. Christmas stream being the 23rd, Thursday the 23rd of December. It'll be the last stream of the year. There won't be another stream until the new year. It's subscriber only, so you do need to be subscribed on the night. You need to be present and subscribed on the night. So there will be a prize draw for everybody who buys a ticket. There'll be just a single ticket that you can buy. It will be free, but only to subscribers. So there'll be no points used for it. You just get a ticket, but you have to be a subscriber. And then whoever wins that draw, if you have 5 minutes to claim the prize. So you will need to be available around about midnight on that night. And if you win it, you get a PS5. It's a PS5 disc version, so it's the not the digital one, it's the proper one. It just comes with a pad, that's it, and whatever game is installed. I think it's Astro's Playroom is installed on it. But that's Christmas. So yeah, just get everybody to subscribe. The more people subscribe, the more we can do these giveaways. So a worker's allowed to win, usually not allowed to participate in the company's conflict. I think if that was the case, Andy would just resign. Temporarily resign. No, it's absolutely fine. Anybody who subscribes is eligible to win it. As I say, you do have to be subscribed. You do have to be present on the night, which means you will need to be present between 9:30 and 12 o'clock in order to buy a ticket, and then you'll need to be present at midnight in order to receive the prize. Should you win it? I will be advertising it heavily on the social media channels and well, that's it really. Probably on YouTube as well. I might do a little announcement on YouTube just to kind of get the numbers in. because ideally this, I mean, in an ideal world, I'm not expecting this to happen at all, but in an ideal world, the number of subs that get added during that month should cover the cost. As it happens, the cost is already covered based on subs and prizes, subs and cheers over the past few months. So it's not a problem. But obviously, if I'm to continue doing prize giveaways like that, then obviously the subs need to cover it. So the one thing the one thing that's going to be the downside is going to be the customs charges. I will cover the shipping costs. I've looked. I think the worst case is about £70 shipping cost, which is to Australia. I will cover the cost of that. That's absolutely fine. But what I can't cover is the customs cost. So we'll have to, whoever wins it, we'll have a little conversation over private message, and we'll discuss how best to both label it to avoid things like DPD stealing it, and avoid any kind of item confiscation that might come with kind of misvaluing stuff. And also to work out the best, because different countries have different couriers, different kind of better couriers. So for instance, here I kind of quite trust DPD to give me something from here to London, but I wouldn't trust Hermes, for instance. So it may be that in another country that's slightly different. So we just need to work out what's best. So yes, even it's a gift though, you still have to mark its value, and you still have to say what it is as well. So you have to be very careful what you do with it. So I need to have a think about how to do it. It could be that if the winner wins it, we come to some kind of agreement that I'll take it out of the box or something and put it in something else, or I don't know. Well, we'll work it out on the night anyway. Well, over Christmas when it happens, but yeah, send it piece by piece. I would. Oh God, can you imagine that? Yeah. Anyway, all right. So check location. So what do we want to do here? Okay. So at this point, we know which one of these we're doing, right? So we need type 1 by 1, type 1 by 2, type yeah. So we need all of those in. So we need 4 of these routines. So type 1 by 1, like that. 1 by 2, 2 by 1, and 2 by 2. Right. So these are the 4 routines that we need. So what do these need to do? Okay. So we need to check each one of these spaces for some characters. So the first thing we need to do is work out which one of these we want to do first. So let's work on the case of if it is a full Robotron chart, then we need to redraw. We need to recalculate. So let's do that check first. Let's do 1 by 1. Okay, so the way this works is quite simple. Actually, where's the restart check? Does it start with y equals 0? It does. Okay, so at this point, y is already 0. So we don't need to do that here. So what we'll do here, by the way, is we'll do exit. Actually, no. We need to think about how we do this. Okay. Actually, jump into this is better as well, because a jump to subroutine here would have been 6, I think, cycles, and an RTS would have been 3, or the other way around, something like that, whereas a jump is just 3. And the jump back is just 3. So you're saving a couple of cycles as well in exchange for a couple of bytes. That's it. If they think it's a spectrum, you get charged insult tax. I mean, with a bit of luck, I mean, it doesn't really matter where it goes, but I'm happy for it to go anywhere. But with a bit of luck, it is the UK, and then there's no kind of custom charges, because it is going to be expensive. But I don't want to put anybody off. I'm happy to ship it anywhere. I want people to be very aware that if I do ship it abroad, I can't cover customs costs, because it could be a lot. So you have to please make sure if you do want to enter this competition that you do check what it would cost to receive this and be prepared and that you're prepared to pay that as well, or that you know of a way to get around it. I'm not going to advertise the getting around it too much, but I will say that I will discuss this with people. So anyway, okay, let's do this. So let's start with one by one. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to load this value here. So y is 0 at this point. We know that. So we need to check this value. If it is a full 1x1 Robotron char, we should not do any move. Okay, so let's make this restore char xy. Okay, so restore char xy would be a case of going, okay, load the old char xy, data.old char xy, x, and store that at data.char x, x. That's confusing. So char y, x. Right, okay. So it's restoring the old values, and then we jump to draw, restart, check. Okay, so this is where we need to go if this value, if it is a full 1x1. Okay, so we compare that to char 1x1. If it is a char 1x1, we jump to restore char xy. Okay, cool. Otherwise, right, so what we need to add in here is which would just actually be, oh, actually no, because if we don't need to do anything, we do need to return. Okay, so we'll just put we'll just do that. Yeah, okay. That's so yeah. So this would be jump draw dot return 1x1. Okay, so at the moment this is never being hit, but this would be hit if we need to defer to Sprite. So which is what this is here. So we need to do the to do here to do that. Thank you, Microman, for the bits. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. I'm actually out of Coke, so I'm going to drink more cider, which I'm actually getting to the end of as well. I'm going to take my time with it, though. Market food stuff, so VAT is only 14%. Yeah. They would wonder what food stuff weighed 5 kilos or whatever it is. It's quite heavy, everything. I think it's about, actually, I think these are the new ones. So I think the one that I have is the one with the slightly lighter Coke and cider. Interesting combination. Yeah. Not drinking them together, but I just had a can of Coke on my desk, so I was just finishing that. But yeah, 5 kilograms of spam. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? All right, so let's copy this over here. Okay, so now if we're doing this for 2x2 or 1x2, it actually doesn't change very much here. We just need to do this twice. That's it. The value is still 1x1. We're always checking for 1x1 because that's what we're checking here. It's got nothing to do with what we want to draw, but what is already in that location. So, but what we need to do is 1x2. So just to check here, we just load y with 28. Yeah, okay. So there we go. That's the second one. So we check both locations. If either location is 1x1, then we don't move. Okay. Otherwise, we defer to a sprite, or in this case, we're always going to return, but to draw, but we can start deferring to a sprite as well. If it's 1x2, for instance. But what this should stop everything just overlapping in a single character. What's going to happen is they're going to group up in kind of half values all over the place. So there will still be some kind of rectangle cutouts until we do the sprite stuff, but this should prevent them just grouping up in one solid block in the middle. So again, we do the check, but this time we actually we can just use increase Y because that's just like 1 byte quicker. So let's do that. And then on this one, we do the same again, but with both of these things in place. So we're going to we'll do this one first. I'll do that here, and this would be X, Y, yeah. And then we'll dig this one here. And the difference being here that we're going to take the load Y28 and increase the Y here. So what we're doing is we're starting with Y0, checking 0, offset 0, offset 1, offset 40, offset 41. Again, just checking char 1 by 1. That's all we care about. But if we return to 2 by 2. Okay. So far, this, I think, should, in theory, prevent them from overlapping more. But I think we've got an error somewhere. Check location. Did I capitalize that and not? Yes, I did. All right. Makes sense, actually. It should be. What I like about this game, where was that? That was a bolt. What I like about this game is it's giving us an opportunity to write some really interesting bits of code, mark it Mimolette and have it banned from import sale. I'll mark it as an Atari ST and then put the value at £10,000, and the customs will just laugh and say, no, it's not. Scribble it out, write 0, and just let it through for free. All right, let's see what happens. This should be interesting. Oh, okay. So, okay, not at all what I wanted there. Okay, so let's take a look at what the hell might be going on there. So, in the draw function, okay, so one thing that's definitely happening that shouldn't be happening, when we do the restart check, it kind of should be here. Should come all the way back to here. So that's the first thing, because it needs to recalculate the screen row position and everything. So that's one thing. The other thing is as well is it's not actually recording the values, the old char y values. So we need to do that kind of here, I guess. So when we've done all the size stuff, now record the old values. So the odd values. Now, so that's basically this routine, but in reverse. So that would just be old, that'd be char, that'd be char. Okay, so that just means that when the routine's finished, it store those values. Missile command, yeah. Millet and violet. Right, 5 kilogram of drugs on the packet. No, I do that. They laugh and just forward the packet. No, it's still doing something odd. It seems to be starting in a weird place as well. That's the odd thing. I'm wondering if the original values that I'm doing up here are kind of wrong for some reason. So let's just check add. Oh, I can see the problem already. I must have deleted one of the lines here. Okay, that will help a lot probably. Okay, so the only other thing they're doing here is not resetting the Y. So when we've finished, it needs to be reset, and that's the problem here. So not in the return. Actually, so we do it in here to avoid having to. Oh, actually, it doesn't matter down here either, does it? Because we jump to draw return. Well, actually, let's do it down here just so it's kind of neat. See, no, because that's probably better in here, actually. All right, yeah, let's do it in here. And actually, that means we can make a tiny change. Actually, no, we'll leave it as it is, I think. As the Y is already set up there, so we don't need to change it anymore. Yeah, right. I feel very tired, but I must admit I'm glad I streamed. I always feel a little bit better when I stream. It always cheers me up a little bit, so I'm glad. Hey Warlock, how's it going? How's things down under? Hey, there we go. Right, okay, so hopefully now they shouldn't group up quite as... Oh no, they still are though, look. It moved into the next space. They're still grouping up. They shouldn't be doing. Okay, so let's have a think about why this is. So, also, one thing I am interested in here is just how much time this actually takes. So let me just do. Just interested to see how much time that takes to do those 5. I think you made good progress. Yeah, it feels pretty good already. It's not just that makes me happy though. It's kind of speaking with you guys as well. That's always a fun part of my day. Okay, that is quite heavy actually on the border. Let me just move that into debug borders. Okay, so maybe it's not that bad actually. But I think there's a lot of backtracking here as well, which I think is slowing it down. I mean, it could be worse, and there's definitely optimizations we can do around this. But this is with 5, and not much else going on, so that's kind of all right, I guess. Now there could be in the middle of that. Actually, is there no normal frame? Map tables update. Okay, let me just check what's going on in map tables update, and let me just see what would happen in screen update. So screen update. Start Robotron, yeah. Okay, so the update is here. Flash warning door. It's got a doors update in as well. Okay, so let's just wrap that around that instead of that one in there. So we just get the Robotron update because I don't care about anything else on that screen. Just want to see how quick that one is. So. It's so good. You write 6503. Ah, yes. Oh, actually, yeah. But at the same time, that could be because the max Robotron entities is 24, right? So if I change that down to 8, it should be less. But I don't think it will be 8. It probably will be something like 24. But I just want to see if how much of it is the overhead of the extra checks. Okay, not that much more. Wow, look how fast they are as well. Okay, so out of interest, I'm just gonna, because I just want to test some stuff before I start fixing this. I just want to do a little bit of testing around this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try and max out our thing. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it's 5. And I'll leave a big space so I know where to delete from. I'm just gonna indent it like so. So that's 10 now, 15, 20, 25. So if I get rid of that one there, that's 24. Okay, so we've got 24 objects. I want to see how slow this is now. Hopefully not too bad. And there's probably still things we can do to optimize. This is not optimized at all at the moment, so... Oh, not bad, actually. I mean, it's definitely more, but it's not as bad as I thought. It's still kind of hovering around that mark. So let me, have interest, just try some additional values around here. So let's switch these up by putting some values like this. And then on these ones, I'm just going to take 2 off everything. And set that one, I'm going to add 2. If it's too low, I'll add. And like that. Okay, and now I'm going to add 3 to things instead. Just trying to vary them up so that I get like different numbers in here. It's probably better to remove from that one and remove from that one as well. I'm going to add 5 to these. That's probably not a good one to do. Let's do like that. Let's take off that one as well. Let's add to this one. I'm going to half these values. So that would be actually, is that right? 16, 22. Yeah, 0B. All right. And double these ones. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that it was all 24. It seemed like it wasn't, but hopefully we should see all 24 things move towards the player now, and we get a proper idea of kind of how smooth this is. I will leave those in, but comment them out while we're doing the debugging. Okay, it didn't show them all. Because now we've got a limit on. Oh no, the limit's on 24. Okay. Maybe it didn't save, or maybe I didn't save. Sorry, should I say, oh, God, maybe this is going to be really, really slow now. Fuck. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a lot slower, isn't it? I already know this is going to be a lot slower. Oh yeah, okay, way slower. And actually, we get into a possibly into that infinite loop. All right, but let's see what we can get down to before it starts being a problem. I thought it was too good to be true, that. Oh, okay, that's cool. So it handles 18, but I mean, obviously it's using a lot of raster time, and you can see it's struggling to do some stuff, and it's pushing the raster all the way down. But it's a good start. I think what I should probably do now is see if there's a way to optimize this. Let's see if we can move this bar down. So let's have a look at the well, actually no, I need to fix this, don't I? Let's do the fixes first. But 18 seems to be a good number, so let's change that to let's change it to 12. That'll do for now, and we'll just basically comment some of this out. So actually, I can just do it with 5. 5 is enough to. Actually, I just comment them out, isn't it? Yeah, just leave that on 24 and comment out. Or 18, sorry. Right. Okay, yeah, that'll be the way to do it. All right. Okay. Got about an hour left, so that's good. We'll do a bit of bug fixing for an hour. Then we'll look at some optimization on the next stream, and possibly the sprite system as well. Sprite system should be relatively quick because we don't have to do any drawing or clearing. While the clearing's already done, we just need to defer the drawing to the sprite system instead. That's already handled by the multiplexer, so all we'd really need to do is just define which sprites it needs to use, and change the clear routine so that the next time it goes to clear, it doesn't clear a screen address, but instead clears a sprite, which actually should help with the with this screen stuff, because whenever there's an overlap, instead of it drawing 4 characters, it's just going to draw a sprite, which in theory should be it should be smoother. In fact, I mean, we could defer all 2x2s to sprites. Which, that might help a lot, actually. I'll have a think about this, but for now, let's get the staggered kind of grouping working. It should not be grouping up if there is a full character. And you see, when it goes to move, it moves towards a full character. So it's this check here. It should be checking this 1 by 1 location. So it's not that check. Sorry, this one here. And if this succeeds, it should be jumping to restore chart X and Y, and then jumping to this location. So let's put a breakpoint in there. Actually, let me just quickly remove the border update around here, because we'll probably use border colors in a minute to do this. But this is a nice debug to show us the kind of raster time for that. I'm so unfit. Walking to work twice. Walking to the tube station, not even work. It's like a 20-minute walk to the tube station. There and back twice this week has absolutely killed my legs. It's kind of pathetic. See, no, it's never hitting that brake. So that means this check is always, for some reason, this check is always because it's not an immediate mode, that's an address. Because it's dynamic. This is a dynamic character that gets loaded in when the screen loads in, so that's why that's happening. This check is always annoyed. No, that's not true, Russell Mills. Dogs are not just for Christmas. There should be some left over for Boxing Day as well. You missed one on line 436. Thank you. I gave you 5 points for that. Sorry, all you dog lovers. That was a very insensitive joke, but I had to make it. It was important. Who was that? It was Skunk Monkey. Well done, Skunk Monkey. Just a 5 pointer though for reminder I missed something, but yeah, there you go. Let's load that again. Right. Fingers crossed. All right. So we're hitting that. Oh, God damn it. I should have removed the breakpoint as well. All right. Let's move the breakpoint. You'll take whatever's going. I'd probably start printing those RetroPie cases soon because that one was a pain in the ass to print. So I'll do another one. Oh, actually no, because I want to give whoever wins the choice of colors as well. So maybe I won't print it yet. But oh, okay. Okay, so I think this is the infinite loop situation I was on about. So what I'm going to do is in this location here, I'm going to increment the border. And we should hopefully see if we hit an infinite loop, that should flash because we're jumping back to the restart and so on. You want blue though? Yeah, I mean, I'll have blue. Steps will have green. This is all blue, sweet color. Yeah, DHAF's Nexus went out today, 2 days later than I'd anticipated. But yeah, so we're hitting that infinite loop. You can see where the IRQs are kicking in, which is interesting because at that point there's no border color change, which means the IQ is doing quite a lot even on this empty screen. But we can definitely see that this is not actually well. I mean, it's definitely restoring the value, and it's storing it back in these locations, and then it jumps back to here. And at that point, it should just be starting again. Transfer the accumulator to Y. Yes, I mean, X hasn't changed at that point. That should be fine. That should be fine. There's nothing else in here. This is not happening. So yeah, why is it doing that then? So okay, it goes to move. It's because it's trying to move onto itself. So haha. So we need to compare. Okay, so we need to do two things here. First of all, we need to compare, and if both of them are the same, then we don't need to do this. If both of them are the same, then we just need to jump. Crap, how are we going to do this? Well, if both of them are the same, we should never even do this routine. Right? None of this check should happen. So actually, we need to do it before this. So that kind of implies that it should be in this lot here. But we do a check. So let's do it in here. Okay, so the first thing it needs to do is we need to grab chart X, compare data old char X, X, branching not equal like that. That would be there. Yeah, so we need to do those comparisons. Now, can we do that in a more efficient way? We can, but we'd have to do a JSR, wouldn't we? And that would be inefficient. And actually, we still need to do this at the end anyway, so it would be like that. So it's not. How would making this a JSR change things? Okay, let's have a look what we do. Okay, so what's in the accumulator at this point? Because that should always be the same. Okay, it's just the draw type. Char-X is, yeah, it's not really, doesn't really help us there, does it? Char-X, no, it doesn't help us either. Okay, subtract them and branch if equal. What subtract? Oh, subtract these two. It wouldn't make any difference. So in fact, we'd have to set a carry flag. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't make any difference. What this does though is it does add a bit more overhead, but it should prevent this from ever happening if it doesn't need to. Let's see what happens. I feel like this is very inefficient though for some reason. Oh, I had to use so with me going to work, I've been using the MacBook at work. So what I've been doing for 18 months is using my PC and using a remote desktop if I need to check emails or something like that. Something that I have to be on the work VPN for, which I can only do from my laptop because they limit it to MAC addresses or some shit. I don't know. Because I've been at work, I've had to exclusively use the Mac, and I just realized how bad Mac OS is. Just little things like if you click on the Apple logo in the top corner, there's like a recent items, I think, in the list on the menu. I can't remember. I think it's recent items or something like that. If you scroll your mouse up, so if you move your mouse cursor up from the bottom of that list up to the top, when it hits the recent items, the Mac tries to calculate what's in that recent items list, and until it's calculated that, the mouse stops. You can't select anything else. Well, the mouse continues, but you can't select anything else. So you can't click on anything else. It's just little things like that just really wound me up today. It wasn't so bad on Tuesday because I wasn't doing quite as much work. It's mainly just emails and stuff. But when I was going through, I was trying to check storage, remaining storage, and I hovered over that, and it froze. It's only like a second or something, but it froze, and it just made me think this is such a bad UI experience. But because it looks all sparkly and stuff, people love it, and I just think it's just not a good experience. I'm sorry, it's not. Give me Windows any day or Linux. I don't really care either way. Windows, I'd use Linux definitely over Windows if Linux was better at games, but it's not. So it's getting there, but it's still not right. Okay, I'm just going to put this in like this. I'm not happy with this. I feel like, I mean, let's have a look how many. So the worst case scenario here is it's going to be these are the same. So if these are the same, then it's basically skipping the rest of it. So that's not actually the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that this one fails and this one doesn't. So the worst case scenario is that it does this and then jumps to here. So that means we've got 5. I think this is 4. It's either 4 or 5. Let's say 4. 9. This doesn't branch, so this is just 2. Then the same again, 5. 4, so 9. So that would be 2 lots of 9. It's 18 plus 2, which is 20. But this one does jump, so it'd be 23. So it's an extra 23 cycles. Not too bad, but it is a third of a line. And if you do that over 24, that's the next. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So worst case scenario is you've got 24 things on screen. They all do that same check, which means you would use 8 raster lines. One of them would be bad, so you would probably get 9 raster lines out of that. That's not too bad, actually. I think the slowdown is elsewhere here. Probably with the drawing of the overlap things. Definitely feel more on the ball with the code today. I don't know why. I've never seen that slow down. It's a fairly new MacBook as well. It's a fairly decent one. It's an NVMe SSD, but I think it's got I do have a lot, and I mean a lot of files opened on it because I've been doing a lot of scanning of kind of systems and stuff, and then reading kind of individual files and stuff. So that list is probably huge, but still, it shouldn't even stop. The fact that it's regardless of what processor it's got in, regardless of whether it should freeze for 0.001 seconds or 10 seconds, doesn't matter. The fact that it freezes at all is really bad. If you move your mouse, if it starts looking for something and you can still move your mouse, which you can. The mouse move is obviously in a different CPU thread. And at the moment you move off, it should just cancel it. It should just drop whatever it's doing and cancel it, and allow you to click somewhere else. So the Windows 10 UI, yeah, I mean the Windows 10 UI is a little bit ugly compared to Mac OS. I will admit that, but I think it's way more functional. Way more functional. It's just Mac OS looks nice. That's why people kind of go balmy over it. If Linux looked as good as Mac OS, nobody would use Mac OS. Everybody would just use Linux because it's a much better operating system. What's that one? Is that this one here? Line? No. Oh god, we've got a few of these now. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. I could waffle on about this all day long, but I'm not going to. Okay, so actually not equal. I'm going to jump to that. Hopefully that's the only one. Yeah, I know that's the thing. I think if Linux had the kind of look and feel of Mac OS, people would use it over. It's well, no, they probably still wouldn't. They probably just because the majority of these people are just Apple diehards, aren't they? They would buy a shiny turd if it had an Apple logo on it, and pay £10,000 for the privilege. Okay, things are still piling up, but now there's no infinite loops now. So you can see it's doing the rechecks, which is good, but it's not doing the infinite loops anymore. There's definitely some movement here. Yeah, see, look, if I... Oh, wait, hang on. Maybe it should be if there's any character here. Because if it's over half a character... Okay, so let's think about this. You've got a character that's on half and half. All right, let's try and draw this out. So say I've got a character that's spread out like that, and then another one like that. Let's draw them with two different characters so that it's... Let's call them AA and BB. Okay, so in the configuration of 1x1s, this is what they would look like. But in 1x2, 2x1s, they'd look like this. So let's assume this is what we've got at the moment. So we've got one that's in two half squares, and one that's in... So we've got a 2x1 and a 1x2. This has just moved. We now want to move this one. This one's going to move this way. So it's going to look at this location. It's going to say, okay, there is no 1x1 character here. So I'm going to move into that location. And that's because what it should be doing is using a sprite. So let's assume it does that, right? So let's just do that now. So okay, so that would move in like so. This is the original. And now we've got that. So now it's kind of like, but actually this is only half of a character. So we'll draw the halves as lowercase. So now what we've got is we've got, actually this would be like that now. Yeah, okay. So then on the next frame, this goes, okay, this one hasn't moved because the player's right next to it. And this one says, okay, I'm going to check where I want to move. I want to move to here. This isn't a full character, so I'm going to move in and it's going to override it. Yeah. Shit. All right. Duh, duh, duh. What about particles? Particles it shouldn't matter. They should hit, and they should, yeah, they shouldn't matter. They get, that's the first thing we did. We split the clear particles routine up into clear particles from the screen, do some stuff, including this update, and then clear particles from the font, clear them from the font. Yeah, so the clear algorithm is deleting other bots. No, it's this is what's happening. So as I say, I think does that make sense? So if we imagine A being a character, B being a character, if they're in capitals, they're 1 by 1. If they're in lowercase, they're in 2 by 1, right? And this is a perfect example. The algorithm is saying, let's imagine that the player is right here. So the player is P, right? So in this case, A will move up to B. P won't. Sorry, A won't move anywhere closer to P because this is our player. If let's put brackets around it so it looks a bit and it's stand out. There we go. So it's right up against our player, so it's not going to move any further. So B goes to move. B says, "Okay, is this space blank, or does it contain a full character?" It doesn't, so it moves. That's the only check it's doing. It's checking for a 1 by 1, so it moves up to there. Then on the next frame, it says, "Okay, is there a 1 by 1?" A doesn't move, and then B says, "Okay, I should be moving. Is there a 1 by 1 character there?" There is, so I'm just going to restore the overlay, and we get that, which is why we end up with 5 characters like that next to each other, which we can see if we move in the right way. Actually, that's the wrong one, isn't it? It's this one, not that one. All right, well, it was one we had before anyway, and we can line 5 up. However, if they're already on half blocks, so this is on a half block, and let's imagine this can't move because the player is in such a situation where it can't actually move into a full position, right? So what happens here now is this says, okay, is this a full character? It is not, so it moves it across, leaving a half character here and this one overlaid, and then on the next frame it does the same again, which means if you have this, all that's going to happen is it's going to move these in like that, and then on the next frame that becomes that, because that moves, so basically you're just going to end up with that. You're just going to end up with one. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. So that's why we're seeing that issue. So the way to fix this is actually not to check for 1 by 1, but to actually check if there is anything there at all. So the way we can do that is we can check to see if a value is equal to 0, or if it's equal to or if it's less than the value. So we have a value in the constants, I believe it is, which is free charge before particles. No, there's a value somewhere. Number of base codes, end of font space. Here we go. So we would basically take this value. If it's this value or less, so BCC this value. We compare it to this value, this value plus 1 actually. And if it's less than that, then we assume that there's something there. So that means we need to change these ever so slightly. So what we do, this stays the same exactly as it is. But this bit here, instead of doing this, what it would do is it would say, okay, if... Wait, why is it going to defer to Sprite? Hang on. Yeah, it has to be like that, unfortunately. Okay, the Sprite system is going to have to be a bit different, but yeah, all right. So what we need to do here is we need to say if this value is equal to 0, then we can draw, right? So we jump ahead to here, and we can draw this thing now. Otherwise, we need to compare this to not that, which actually saves us one byte in cycle. End of font space plus 1. And if it's more than that, or more than or equal to that, we also jump ahead. That means that all that's there is either a particle, a bullet, what else? Particles, bullets, or decals. Those are the 3 things. Otherwise, we don't move and we restore. So this is the change that we do here. So just these 3 checks in the middle here. Which does mean we need to do that anytime we see this compare char 1 by 1. We need to do that, and the branch if equal. Yeah. Okay, so we do that here as well, so we compare that. So let's just put it in and see. Okay. That would be like that. No. Load that value if it is not empty. Oh, that's because we're doing the yeah, that's because we're doing the long jump here, that's why. Okay, so that's actually how it should look. Okay, so we compare that. Okay, right, so that becomes like that. Okay. So that becomes that. I think we're definitely going to have to do a refactor at some point to go through this and just tidy it up, because I feel like this is getting really, really heavy. So what we'll do is we'll break this update down into sections of raster bars and look at how big each one is, and then slowly shrink those down until we get something better. We can maybe use some kind of stuff instead of these indexing. Maybe the char x and char y can be we've got these values in here. Maybe these can be kind of stored in 0 page or something like that before we jump into here to make this a bit easier. I'm not sure. Thank you, Andres97 for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Got about half an hour to go on this. Charpos has particle or empty, right? But I'll skip. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing there. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing now. So hopefully this would fix things. But it does mean we have to check those things. The problem is because we've got space right at the beginning, and then anything from char 0 is a valid place to write, and then anything from char 1 up to char 239 is invalid to write. Anything from char not 239, sorry, 223. So anything not 223 either. 207. So anything from char 1 to char 207 is considered solid, and you shouldn't be drawing anything on. So that's what this is doing here. But it does mean we need 2 checks. But I'm thinking with a bit of work, I can probably simplify this a little bit. But for now, I just want to see it working, and then we'll worry about the simplification on the next stream. And then think about how we can add the sprites in there as well. It may just be that the way to do this with sprites is to take actually, could you do it with, if there is something there, then do it with a sprite? But then they would start overlapping. So we'd have to do some checks. But I think we can throw sprites into the mix to make things pack a bit tighter together, because they're not going to pack as tightly this way. They're gonna kind of, they're still not packing properly either. I mean, definitely better. but there's still some overlap going on. And there shouldn't be any overlap. But definitely working. Actually, that's not bad at all, thinking about it. A tiny bit of overlap, but it's really not that bad. If we can find out what the edge case is for the overlap and replace it with a sprite, that would be really good. Okay, so let's have a look at the damage for that then. So let's turn the border change off because we know that's working now. Let's go back to our screen update, sorry, and turn this on and see what the damage is for 5 or whatever we've got right now. I think sprites will definitely help. Sprites will reduce the number of characters we need to kind of update and clear, which is going to be a large part of this. But we've also got to do like bullet checking against these as well. So that's going to be that's not going to be free. That's going to take some. It's actually quite good now. I quite like it. I mean, the overlap is still there. It's a little bit annoying. I'm not sure why that's there. I don't know if it's to do with the particles or not. I don't think so, because the particles should just stop when they hit them. Yeah, I mean, it is doing... Oh, that's kind of good, though. I like it. All right, let's have a laugh then. Let's see how many we can get on the screen then. Let's because you can see it is kind of going a little bit mental. It's got this little flicker now and again where it takes a little bit longer than it should do, and that's to do with the number of updates per frame. So if I slow those updates down, so if I do 1 like that, let's have a look what happens then. I would expect this to do a lot less per frame. And if that is the case, we might be able to sneak the way that the update works into something. Oh, see, that's miles better. Look at the raster time for that in comparison. That is a lot better. But now they're much slower. But let's have a look how that's been used. So let's see if we can tweak that a little bit. So if we have a look at where is that being used? Actually, it's been used here, isn't it? No, that's not there. It's this. No, calculate entity data. That's going to be it. Calculate entity data. Okay, so what this is doing, this is how many of the entities get updated on each frame. So if you've got 24 and you're only updating 1 per frame, that means it takes 24 frames for everything to have moved once. So I think what's happening here, what about 2 per frame? Well, what I'm going to try and do now is just look at something, because I think one of the problems is we're, oh no, because it's updating it to separate one each frame, so it kind of has to be. Okay, let's try 2. I was hoping that what I could do was not update the. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not going to matter, is it? Because the dx/dy is still going to remain the same. Oh, actually, maybe. Because we do all of this, and then we update the entity position. But what I'm thinking... What I'm thinking is if we put something in here like no update delta, right? And then on this section here, what we can have is if we put down here, we put like odd even flag, right? And we set that to byte 0. So then what we do is if Robotron objects per frame. Okay. So this is where we take the index. This is where we increase the index and we compare it to this value. If it's more than that, equal to or more than that, we jump to here. Sorry, if it's less than that. Sorry, we jumped here. Otherwise, we reset the value. But what we can do is we can say, okay, can I use the accumulator here? I can. Okay, so if we grab odd even flag, we EOR it with 0, 1, and we store that in odd even flag, and then transfer that to the X register. So now what's going to happen is every time we get to the end, this flag is going to either start us back at 0 or it's going to start us back at 1. But now what we do is instead of incrementing 1 at a time, we increment 2 at a time. No, that's not going to work. It still needs to be 1 at a time. Which means we don't need to do that either. All right. But then up here, what we can do is transfer X to the accumulator, add odd even flag, and then AND it with 0, 1, and then branch if it's probably going to be too long, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to jump to no update delta. So what this will do is it's going to go through the entire entity list, and if the odd even flag is a 0, then any odd numbers will get updated. The deltas will get updated. So that means this piece of code here will run. Actually, the clear needs to run though as well. Ah, shit. Okay, that's fine. We can just move that to here. Index transfer. Yeah, okay. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. I'll put a note in here to say what I'm doing. So what this is doing is on odd frames, only update if odd even flag is it odd frames? Let's have a look. Yes, if odd only update sorry, on odd frames. So odd even flag will be set to 1, which means we will only update if it's not equal. So it's actually should be the opposite. All right. Only update if only update odd numbered entities. So it's what it's going to do is it's only going to update half of the entity's deltas on any given frame. So if we say update 2 per frame, it will redraw, it will clear and redraw, but it will only update the deltas of 1. So the deltas will be delayed slightly. Only update odd entities. Okay, so let's have a look. So we take our thing, we add our flag. We need to clear the carry flag here. Clear the carry flag, add our odd even flag, and it was 0, 1. So if it's an odd numbered entity and we add odd, that would be 0. So undo it with 1. If it's equal, we do it. Okay. Otherwise, we go to no update delta, which is down here, which just does the drawing and doesn't update the delta. But the delta will still be there from the previous frames, so it should be fine. So let's see the difference now. So let's put it back up to, what was it, on 3, I think. So we'll see a little bit more variance in the frame because now it's going to, some frames it's going to update 2, some frames it's going to update 1. But hopefully what it does is it should kind of even out a little bit better and stop us doing 3 updates per frame. The most we'll ever do per frame is 2. And that feels a lot smoother. And it's much nicer on the thing. So actually, if I made this 24 now, what would happen? I like that. That was a good idea. That was a good idea. Did that make sense? I think that it made sense in my head. I hope that made sense to you guys watching. Yeah, look at that. Oh, actually, we're not drawing 24, but it is trying to update 24. So let's add let's add everything in my listing and see what happens. So where was that? It was in here, wasn't it? All right. So I think we had, can't remember how many we had here, but we had quite a lot. So let's just uncomment them and then do a quick count on them. Okay. So we had, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. Okay, so we've got all 24 now, updating 3 deltas per frame. And what that'll actually do, the worst case scenario is things will just overshoot by a little bit and come back, but they shouldn't overshoot so far. I'll need to go around the edges of the map and make sure they don't cut pieces out of the map, but hopefully it will manage to run all 24 now. So it is running all 24. There is a huge kind of slowdown in the rest of the time, but now we're actually moving 24, which is kind of cool. And they're kind of getting jammed on each other, which is kind of fun as well. So this is kind of good. I mean, you can see a bit of a flicker because the raster's going all over the show now. But we can fix that by changing this value and adding some sprites in. So that was kind of a nice optimization there. Kind of quite pleased with that, actually. I mean, we can go further with that as well. It doesn't have to be odd even frame. Let's just call it odd even flag for now. But what we could do instead is we could, for instance, we could load accumulator without that. No, it's called odd even. I'm just trying to get it working for now. So what this does is this means that now what we need to do is instead of thank you for the hosting there. Appreciate it, my man. Where was it? It was okay. So this doesn't matter down here. So it's this bit here. So we take our index, we add the flag, and then what we want to know is it a multiple of 3? Multiple of 3 is a bit much, so let's do it with 4 then instead, right? So if we do only powers of 2, then we're going to be fine. So if we just do and 0, 3, and actually that means down here what we can just do is instead of doing all of this crap here, we can just do same down here as well, and that gets rid of that. Okay. So let's put a note in here. Rotate the frame numbering. In fact, we don't even need to do this either because we've already got frame timer somewhere. So actually, we can make this more efficient as well. All right, so let's do that. Let's find frame timer. I can't remember where it is now. I think it's in the 0 page. Okay, so frame timer. Yeah. So if we just grab frame timer. We don't even have to worry about. Oh no, we can't because it's not every frame. This is only updating at the end of the. Okay, no, that's fine. We can't do that. Okay, we'll change the name of this to entity update group. Entity. Yes, it's a long one, isn't it? Update group num. We could move that into 0 page for a little bit of extra speed, although I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. But that should now allow us to only update the deltas on every 4th set, which over 24 frames doing. So 24 entities doing 3 per frame. That means it takes 8 frames to update the positions of all entities. So that means if we spread it out over 4, that means it takes 32 frames. So 60, yeah, I mean 2/3 of a frame in order to do this. Can't you go even further? Can't you even go? Are you talking? Oh, I'm getting confused. But yeah, line 677. What are you on about there? I need to check what that was. It's probably. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm just pleased that this system works. It's just a typo. Oh, he means more robots. Oh yeah, maybe that's the thing. We can maybe put more in. If this system works, we can see how far we can take it, and things it will reduce even further once we put the sprites in as well. The thing is I was worried about the characters moving into the scenery, but one of the checks we've done is we check to see if the character's moving into solid space. And if it's moving into solid space, don't move it into solid space. Why is my screen going? Oh, it's because of the HDR. So that actually isn't going to be a problem. So no, I mean with a counter for the updates. Yeah. So actually, this is yeah. I mean, it's a lot less, I think. But we have got 24. So the thing is if I reduce the number we have, then I can reduce the. Oh, actually, let's put it on 4 updates per frame. So we updated 4 per frame. That's going to be quite quick. So let's put it onto 32 entities and see what happens. Because that's still 8 frames for all the updates. But I think I need to kind of get my head around what's kind of what's changing and not. Okay, so we don't have 32. We're only displaying 24. But now let's try. I can't add more in because if I add more in, it's gonna cause issues with. Well, they're just not gonna. Some of them just aren't gonna move. Right. Let's say I reduce it to 20, which is still plenty. 20 is gonna make things quicker. So let's do 2 updates. Let's see how that works. That's pretty good. That's just 20, although it looks like it's drawing more than 20 there, actually. Or is it? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I was only drawing 19 for some reason. Or I'm miscounting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, it's only drawing 19. I don't know why that is, but still, I mean, that's pretty smooth, and we've not got the sprites in yet as well. So I'm quite pleased with that. It's a good progress. Just trying to think how else we can change that. So I think the speed is pretty decent. It still feels like they're following. You can see the particles are struggling to display now, and that's because the particle code is running. It's running kind of after all of this, so we're getting some issues. Like if I go up here, you'll see the particles disappear or flicker. Like they're a bit flickery. If I go a bit further up, they're non-existent. There'll be certain points where I sit where they'll appear. So there definitely needs to be some more optimization on this. We can do some on the next stream. There's also performance things. So for instance, we haven't done any of the performance changes on this. So if I go have a look at screen 11, I think it is, we've got this performance here, which is particle, or is this? I can't remember what it is. So I need to have a look. Screen macros. And that is sprites and particles. All right. So if I come in here and I make some changes to screen 20, this one, so that when this starts up, one of the first things it does is it sets the performance of the screen to the same as, say, on the laser. No, let's kill him. Yeah, that's going to be the next one. Hopefully, the killing will just be a small change to the bullet routine. The yeah. See, look, already we're not. The particles are displaying a bit higher. Oh my god! See, I'd be dead by now. Yeah, I'm pleased with this. This is decent progress, and you can see we've got half values here, so that even though these, oh, see, I'm completely stuck. I can't get out now. Let's see, what can I do to change? So let me change Robotron update group count. So this needs to be a power of 2. So I'm going to put this in as 4 for now. So the update group count is how many we're going to update, how many deltas we update per frame. So let's call it. No, let's call it update group count because it's not deltas per frame. It's how many, kind of what fraction. 1 over that value is the fraction of entities that have their delta updated on this particular frame. So, so that's this here would need to be -1. It probably needs to be the same up here as well, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, is there anything else we can do to speed that up? Okay, so we do a clear every frame, and that clear is going to happen regardless of whether we need to draw or not. So that could be one thing we do is we check that because we already do that in. Oh, actually, we do this here, don't we? We could actually do that check in the. We could store the result of this, and then that would save us having to clear. So, what do you do in set performance? Disable and use routines. No, disable performance. Set performance changes the maximum number of sprites and particles. So, why is that split like that? I don't remember splitting like that. What's going on? What? That doesn't even make any sense. How's that doing that? It doesn't make any sense. Close that one. That was weird. Yeah, so the first one changes the number of sprites in the multiplexer, and the second one changes the maximum number of particles. Order more frequent cases first time. Could you use the old position instead of clean and overwrite that? Could you just use the old position? Yeah, so one of the things we could do, which we're not doing at the moment. Oh no, we do have screen low and screen high. We can check this instead of this maybe, and set a flag somewhere to say that this hasn't moved. So don't clear it. So we don't need. So the only reason we would need to clear it is if we need to move it somewhere else, right? So if in the clear routine we see that the new position, actually no, the new position is not calculated at that point. So let me see if I move the clear routine. No, because it changes the X and Y. Okay, it's not as simple as I was thinking. There will be things we can do here, definitely. Definitely things we can do. So we're always doing a clear every single frame every single entity that we update, which is well, it's just 2 per frame here. But every time we do this, we're doing a clear, and what that clear is doing is down here, I think there. It's doing quite a bit, right? It's having to in the worst case scenario do 4 stores to the screen, but also before that, to get to that, it has to also go through these comparisons, right? So even reordering this comparison could change things. So for instance, if we change this to be the first check. So the very first thing we do is we check, is it equal to 3? If it is equal to 3, then jump straight down there. Don't do these other checks because this is the longest thing to do. So we want to kind of get to this as early as possible. Could you just use the old position instead of clean and overwrite that? Yeah, I mean that's what it's doing with this clear here, but it needs to know how many to clear as well. So it could be that we store multiple screen locations here and go through a list of them. You need a new array for move, don't move before clear routine. Yeah, I need to have a little bit of a think about it, but it's give me something to sleep on. I think the progress tonight is really good, though. I'm very, very pleased with it. I mean, if we drop these down to kind of reasonable values, if we do like 16, which means we can, yeah, if I just do 16, just to see what happens. I think it's nice progress. And also bear in mind as well that the reason this is slow is because what we're having to do lots of checking of the screen location to see if we should draw it or not. If we get rid of that check, or we get rid of the draw, even the draw, right? So if you look at the draw, to draw, so if we decide this is what we want to do, then in the clear, the next time we do a clear, we have to do this. And then the draw for that routine means we have to do all this, right? This is always going to happen. This check needs to happen because this decides whether or not we move. But if we do need to move, then this is what happens with the draw. If we replace some of these with sprites, then actually all we're going to be doing is setting a position and storing it in the multiplex, and that's it. It's probably going to be that. It's probably going to be half the amount instead. So if we try and replace as many 2x2s with sprites as possible, it will not only look better because there'll be less chance of them kind of glitching together, which I mean they don't do as much now anyway because of these checks, but it will save the amount of time. And then when we go to clear it, you don't need to do anything to clear it. You just basically just turn that sprite off. Just set the Y value to be off screen. Job done. So that will save a lot as well. Let's do a quick check, and then I think I'm going to call it a night. I'll find someone to raid. I do need to lie down, but I'm very pleased with tonight's progress. Things have gone well. It's been the first time in a long time that there hasn't been a shitload of bugs to fix. But yeah, look at that. I mean, that's 16, and I get overwhelmed by them, but it's running nicely in the border. I think with some more tweaks here and there, we'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's right. Do we need to optimize, or is the performance okay? I think we do. The reason I say that is because if you look, so we've had to set the performance value for this screen down a little bit. I mean, we can probably set it further by reducing the number of particles even further. If I reduce it down to 10, for instance, just the right one. Take care, Warlock. Thanks for joining. The particle system itself and the sprite system both require a bit of rest. So you can see at the top of the screen, you see the particles kind of glitching. You can barely see them. It's only when I get down to here that you start seeing them again. Oh my god, they're actually really difficult to avoid. There, you see they're disappearing, and that's because the raster time. So what we're seeing on the screen now is just for updating these Robotrons, but on the rest of the raster time, we've got sprite sorting, for instance. So one thing we could do is make sure that if the multiplexer is set to 8 sprites or less, we basically just turn the multiplexer off, so we don't do any sorting at all, because there's no point in sorting 8 sprites. You just display them. Which would limit what we can do on this screen, but we could get rid of a sort routine, which would then move this up a bit further and bring this up. It's where this top is that's causing the problem. The other thing we could do is reduce the particles down, which is what's made it possible to get almost to the top and still see particles. And we can just stagger some other updates. So there's things we can do, and we definitely need to think about it. And bear in mind as well, this is still with the music run. Let me just check that it is actually running the music very briefly. Yeah, so it is still running the music, and the music routine isn't very efficient either. So there may be things we can do there as well. But I think changing some of these to sprites will help a lot. But I think that's what we'll do. I think on the next stream we'll go through some optimization stuff. We'll do as much as we can to this system as it stands now, without the sprites. Maybe we'll add the sprites, I don't know, but we'll do as much as we can, and then we'll have a look at some other areas and see if we can do those as well. But I'm happy with this. Really happy with this. Quite impressed with tonight's thing. So don't forget the mace. Yeah, I mean the mace shouldn't affect it because the mace is just sprite based anyway. So in fact, let me turn that back on so you can see it. Where's the player? There it is. Player has mace. There we go. It's another sprite. Yeah, I mean, so the way the multiplexer works is it ignores the player and it ignores the mask area. So that little kind of weird mask that fits over the player when you go behind secret areas. The mace is counted as a multiplex sprite. So that means I've always in the back of my mind, I've always got to remember that you need 3 sprites. You need 3 sprites, and then everything else you can have on a line. So if the multiplexer says we've only got 8 sprites, then what that means is you've actually got 5 additional sprites that you can use, but all 5 of those can be on the same line. Does the mace kill the robots? Yes, it will. So the mace will have a routine for checking as well. So, yeah, I mean it doesn't now, but it will have. Oh, I need to pause that as well. But there will be. So say you've got 16 sprites on the screen in the multiplexer, then it's going to reserve 13 sprites for the multiplexer and 3 for, well, it's going to reserve 14 for the multiplexer. The mace is always part of the multiplexer. So you need to check collision with all robots. Yes, but the system I intend on coming up with is having a system where we can check these screen low and screen high locations. So the bullet system is going to do this. It's going to check against these. The mace is going to check against those. The player will probably just if these values get to 0 at any point, which we actually don't see there, but the DX and DY could potentially hit 0. If they hit 0, that means we've been hit by something. So because it no longer can move. If the enemy can no longer move, it's touching us. It must be. So that's potentially how I do that. There's a lot of little tricks we can do. We'll see what works and what doesn't, but I'm pleased with the progress tonight. It was good. So I'm going to find someone to raid now anyway. But yeah, really happy with that. Probably the most code I've done on a stream for a long time, actually. And the most productive I've been on. It's cider. Maybe I just need more cider. Maybe the vodka's kind of ruining my brain. Nah, that's not the case, is it? Vodka's good for you. It's made out of potatoes, for God's sake. It's only at 5 a day. Okay, let's see. We can raid. He's on. Clipper's on. Duke's on. Chalk's on. Pocket Watch is. Oh, did we raided Pocket Watch last time? Didn't we? I'm not sure what they were doing though. Any suggestions? Let's try someone new. It's the Coke, yeah. Oh yeah. Hopped up, aren't I, on caffeine? Cider is made of apples and apples is fruit. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Let's raid Chalk. Chalk's nice and easy. Not raided Chalk for a week or so. I do raid him a lot, but he's a good man. So okay, right. Take care, guys. I'm going to start the raid now. I shall see you all hopefully on Saturday. Hopefully, I'm feeling up to it. I really do want to do it because I do want to give away the Razer Kishi and the Set 50 Plus on Saturday. So just save some points for that. It won't be too expensive. So just save a little bit for that. I thought I'd press that. Okay, take care, guys, and I shall see you. Wait, I have pressed that. Oh, it's up there. There we go. I shall see you on Saturday. Take care. Bye.